Hello, my name is Martin Hargrave, and I am the host for Talk Badminton. Now, I've been asked too many times now to be interviewed by various people. People keep on saying to me, I want to know about everybody else's badminton, but nobody's interviewing me. So I can't face anybody asking me questions and prying to me. So what I've decided to do is interview myself. So hopefully this will give enough information about me that everybody stops asking me questions about who I am and where I came from and what I do and why I'm interested in badminton. I'll kick off by saying I'm not very good. There's my get-go. So I'm very enthusiastic about badminton, and if I was as good in my own ability as I think I am in my head, I would be world class. I can find fault in anybody's game, but I personally am rubbish. However, I do love the sport. I absolutely love badminton. So I'm just going to go through my bio, the questions I ask everybody else, so you can understand me a little bit. First of all, my full name is Martin Hargrave. My age is 50. I turned 50 in December. My home area, I would say, I was born actually lived in Washington and in the northeast of England, and I was born in the Queen Victoria Hospital in Newcastle, Gateshead, and I lived in Washington, I think, until I was 7, and we moved to Morpeth in Northumberland must have been before that. We lived in Morpeth till 7 and moved to Belford in Northumberland, which is roughly 15 miles south of Berwick-upon-Tweed, kind of halfway between Berwick-upon-Tweed and Alnwick. Belford's a very small village with only quite a small population. I went to primary and middle school. There was in Belford, and I think it still is actually. And then can you go up to high school at 13 in Berwick-upon-Tweed is where I went, and some went to Alnwick, which is kind of equidistant from Berwick to Belford. And so anyway, so I went to Berwick-upon-Tweed, and I suppose I started playing badminton at the age of about, it's hard to say really, I think maybe about 10. And I loved it. In the village, we lived in a place called Middleton, actually, which was about 3 miles outside, and we would, I can't remember how we'd get there, to be honest with you, but we'd walk down or cycle. I remember several nights of walking in the pitch black. It was really kind of a 3-mile walk from the village to where we lived, and about 3 times a week we would go Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We'd go to Badminton Club. It was run by a chap called Ronnie Martin is a name I remember. He passed away, I believe, recently, which is very sad. A keen tennis player and badminton player, and good at kind of getting me into the sport, and I seem to really enjoy it. I've got a family of, I'm one of 5. I've got a younger sister, Jane, who's 2 years younger, and then an older brother, Gordon, and the next brother above him is Barry, and then Richard. And there's roughly 2 years, I should know, but there's roughly 2 years in between all of us. I think my mum had a year's break between each one of us. So I think actually not strictly true. Gordon and Barry have got about, I think they're literally about a year apart, so that was a busy year. So anyway, so as far as badminton goes, my brothers, myself, Jane, my younger sister, myself, Barry and Gordon played badminton. Gordon's my next elder brother. He's now in Lichfield, and he doesn't play badminton anymore. I think he's taken to tennis and triathlons and things like that. So anyway, at the time, growing up, kind of between the ages of about 11 and I suppose 13, 14, 15, we were going to, we played at club Monday, Wednesday, Friday in Belford, and that was it was really mostly, to be honest, it was us knocking socks out of each other, playing singles and doubles. There was several other people, but my biggest memory really was probably competing kind of regularly with Mickey Rogerson, who's still in Berwick, very keen player down there, nice player, and Mickey Rogerson, my brothers, Gordon, Barry, Jane, Richard, the eldest, never played. So anyway, we'd go down there, and then I grew to love it, I suppose, down just playing in the court. It was called the Ferguson Hall. It was like an old, I think it was an old courthouse, actually, called the Ferguson Hall in Belford. You'd Google it, you'd find it. And it was a single court, radiators around the side, usual kind of stuff. beams across the top, and if you served high, you'd have to clear the beams. If you're playing singles, you'd try and cover it, which was good. Always good fun playing singles, but mostly I think my biggest motivator kind of growing up, to be honest, was probably my eldest brother, my brother Gordon. Me and him, we always had a real rivalry on court with badminton. I was always trying to beat him, and then Barry was the next eldest, and eventually trying to beat him as well. And I was always keen on singles. So as far as club goes, we went to Belford about 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and we kind of got in the hall I think about 7 o'clock, and we kind of stayed there till about 10 o'clock really. Shuttles were always plastic. For some reason I have a memory of kind of Mavis 300, but I might be wrong about that. I can't remember. They were always plastic. I remember that in Belford. So we'd play there. We'd all go, and quite often there would be nobody there, and you'd walk in all weathers, to be honest, down to get down there. So you're really enthusiastic about the sport. It was great. So we, anyways, that was the club of badminton, and then it kind of moved into, there was a league in Berwick-upon-Tweed, which had so many teams in the league at the time. It was run by a chap called Bill Dougal. I don't actually know if he's still about, but there's certainly a lot of players still in Berwick-upon-Tweed that play. And so I played mostly, we'd go to league. The league games were normally on Sunday, and like Kelso, Duns, Coldingham, Hutton, Eyemouth, Berwick-upon-Tweed, Belford. I think there were two teams in Berwick actually, and there were 2 divisions, A and B division as well. So I think I started in a B division and moved our way up to the usual. As the numbers diminish, you start getting called on for games and doubles and that kind of thing. So we'd normally have leagues every single Sunday. We had a league, and the school, it was in the Berwick-upon-Tweed High School, and there was probably 4 courts, and it was overlooked actually by a canteen area, and you'd go and kind of, the wives would come and make up sandwiches and have coffee, and you'd kind of take a little kitty with you for your lunch and all that kind of stuff. So you'd be there for a few hours actually. I think it was on Sunday nights that would tend to be on. And we normally got the bus from Belford, which is about a 25-minute, 30-minute bus trip in and out again. That's my memory. I might be completely wrong about that. My brother will put me right on that score. So we played the leagues there, and there were occasional tournaments, I would say. I guess there was, Peter Hardy, and I think Duns had a team, so Peter Hardy would come, and I remember seeing Peter Hardy Jr. on the side of the court, knocking up with his dad and that kind of thing. And Claire Hardy, his sister, Claire Griffiths, she was often in the game playing for Duns in the mixed and all that kind of stuff. It was mostly mixed and doubles, the league kind of stuff. And then occasionally I think you would routinely seem to have a lot of tournaments. There seemed to be a kind of, I don't know, I feel like there was a tournament every kind of 3 to 6 months kind of thing. It felt like quite a regular thing, and other than that, there was no real opportunity to play singles. But I guess this was driven by, Bill Dougal, somebody, just selflessly kind of organising badminton. And these people, they sit at their tables with their notepads and stuff, supplying shuttles and organising trophies and taking money, and it's such a selfless thing, and I've got so much respect for anybody that does that. They're really selfless. They're often not even playing, which I think is quite incredible. So anyway, that was my, I guess, tournament can tend to be there, and I just loved it. I just couldn't get enough of badminton. And then I think eventually I ended up, I've got family in the northeast in Sunderland still, and I started going into county coaching in Newcastle. And my sister did that. That was in an old swimming pool in Byker in Newcastle, which was an old swimming pool with I think they just put a floor on the top of the pool, to be honest, but it was still old tile and all that stuff. Amazing building, really high. I remember that, but I also remember being really intimidated by the size of the place and going into Newcastle, being from such a small village. I would get the bus in, but I was older. I guess I was 15 year old or something like that, so it wasn't too bad. But I do remember the standard of play was so good. I was really overwhelmed by how good it was. And like I said, John Quinn, I really remember playing him at singles a lot, and I always looked up to that guy, and the ability was amazing. But I did get the feeling he was very, very heavily coached, to the extent where he kind of fell out of love with it for a long time, I believe. But an exceptional player, and a nice guy. So that was my kind of coaching days, and then I suppose I was up till about 16, and I kind of fell out of badminton. I kind of took a dark turn at kind of 16, 17. I went into, I started working at Haggerston Castle, where I got involved with the usual drinking and smoking, and I just fell out of love with it altogether. And between about 16, 15 and probably about 19, 18, 19, I didn't play really at all. I was just kind of went off the boil with school and everything else. Didn't really know what I was going to do, and I turned a bit nasty. Well, not nasty, but I just lost a bit of direction. And so I left home at about 19 years old, and went to stay with my brother in Galashiels, Barry, which was amazing. So did a bit of bar work, that kind of thing. Didn't play much badminton at that time, but then eventually started playing in Galashiels and getting into the border kind of scene over there, and with a guy called Gavin Hamilton, Stuart Bell, who I know really well now, and Barry, and obviously there's a few, the Brydens and that kind of thing in Galashiels at the time. I think I played there till it eventually kind of, I think I stopped a little bit again, fell out of love really, I suppose, and ended up going through, so I just stopped playing, ended up doing some bar work for a few years, and I didn't play really for about 10 years, and then in my 30s I kind of took it up again, moved, I met my wife in Galashiels, and she was from Peebles area, so we ended up moving to Peebles, and I took I got into a bit of social badminton in Peebles, where there's a lot of enthusiasm in Peebles. They've got great numbers of players, but unfortunately the standard obviously dictates the kind of level of club games. They were getting 20 or 30 people every week on a Wednesday night, which is amazing. There was another club on a Thursday, but I started to feel my standard was slipping all the time. So I kind of fell out of love with badminton at that time, and so decided to so I stopped playing for a little bit. And now I actually work in Livingston, and so I think in my, I don't know, mid to late 30s, I kind of decided I wanted to try looking at playing in Edinburgh area. So I vividly remember a Tuesday night being in Edinburgh, taking my racket up. That was my opportunity to play on a Tuesday night in Edinburgh. So I was in Livingston. I thought I just need to get a game, and I did some search on Badminton Scotland. I found a club, Nomads Badminton Club in in fact it was North Morningside Badminton Club, playing on a Tuesday night in St George's School in Edinburgh. As it happened though, it was actually it was half term. School was closed. So then I go at the next option, which was actually in East Lothian Badminton Club, which played at Queen Margaret University on the outskirts of Edinburgh near New Creek Hall. So I started going there every Tuesday night, and I absolutely loved it, and met such great people there, who are some of my best friends now. So I really, really enjoyed that. And then through playing with, like I said, Aslan, and Peter Hardy eventually came through to that, Roddy Scotland, Roger Layden, Matt Wilson. I've met so many amazing players in the years in that area, and Aslan actually introduced me. So I was going on Tuesday routinely. Sorry, Colin McGregor, Neil Campbell, and Jason Cameron, Neil Cameron. So many names. Fiona Cameron. They've been such great friends. Anyway, so I got invited. Aslan says, well, we're coming through here on a Thursday night, actually play in Haddington. And there's a club at Knox Academy in Haddington that play on a very similar group of people, really, to be honest. And again, great standard, great players. And it suited me. I finished work at 6, kind of hang about for an hour, and I'd be on the court at 8 o'clock till 10. Late night, getting home at 11 o'clock, but that was my passion. And I guess that's when my passion again really started for badminton. But like I say, I am a hobbyist club player. I've never played to any great standards in county standards, that kind of thing. But I'm very enthusiastic, and I do love the game. So really, I suppose, okay, let's go some of the text questions. Your first ever racket. The first racket I remember is a Carlton 3.7X, and I remember it having a kind of a straight edge from hitting it off a wall. Probably a rage from losing to Gordon, my brother, my next elder brother. I think that was probably the case. I first played Ferguson Hall. Why did you start playing? I don't know. There wasn't a lot else to do in the area, and I did just love it before I went in my smoking and drinking side and dark side. So, do you remember your first ever racket? Yeah, sorry, that was a Carlton 3.7x. What was the name of your first club? Just Belford Badminton Club, I think. What was the hall like? Old court room. It's amazing, actually. Lovely building. Do you remember how much it cost and how often you played? Yeah, 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Cost, can't remember. Wouldn't have been a lot, but I remember the luxury of having a brand new shuttle. That's what I remember, getting a new one out. I was like, that was really heaven when somebody said you can have a brand new one out the tube, because I think it lasted about 2 weeks. When we played singles, it was definitely with these battered ones that have, you'd have the good ones at club, but I think a tube might, at best, a tube would last a night. I don't think so even. But we're quite hard smashers. It was quite good. It was a good competitive game. Do you remember the shuttles? You coached? Yeah, do you know, I can't even remember my first coach properly. Bronnie Martin, I remember him giving me some guidance about a few things. But I really muddled my way through, and if I had any regret, probably I didn't get any coaching from an early enough age. I really muddled my way into the game, and so I learned that I've picked up a lot of bad habits. And not many people know, is I'm double jointed in my thumbs, which has a problem with the backhand. So because my thumb keeps on going back, trying to apply tension that way is quite hard. That's not natural because my thumb goes right back. However, it does give you some unusual angles, but not great power. My backhand's never great, so I've always been taught to come around the shuttle. I was always taught that if you play a backhand in singles, it would mean that your footwork's wrong. So I've always been taught to get back left always. And singles was always my game. I love singles, and I still do. I just don't have the capacity, my cardio capacity for it, I suppose. Were you coach? Yeah. Do you remember the first ever tournament trophy? Oh wow! It would be in Berwick-upon-Tweed. There was tournaments, like I say, regularly, and it was great. I just loved it. It was like a whole day thing, taking packed lunches and sitting and right, you're on. Your singles is on, your mixed is on, your doubles is on. You know, if you get through the singles, I can't go in the doubles now because I'm still through the singles. It was amazing. But I remember the next day, the aches the next day where you played 7 and 8 hours of badminton. I found it incredible. What was the first most successful favourite event? Yeah, it was always singles. Mixed. Oh, I struggled with mixed. To be honest with you, I was never a struggle with mixed. I always just got frustrated because the women seemed so weak. That's a terrible thing to say, isn't it? I shouldn't say that, but it seemed like it. There was a few ladies in Berwick, kind of older ladies, where I just remember the shuttle they would stand at the net and their racket would just be there, and they'd just have this thing where the shuttle would hit and they would just drop off it, literally not even hit the shuttle. Sorry, that was me. Main competition growing up, I reckon my biggest inspiration was actually my brother Gordon. I reckon he fought. I hated losing to him. I remember not speaking to him, walking home 3 months not speaking to him because I'd lost, and it was great days. What clubs do you play in? Okay, current situation. Okay, I play 2 clubs now. Three, I suppose. I love badminton. I love getting people together to play badminton. I love when people, I actually really like, and I've really enjoyed organising badminton clubs. So we were playing St George's School now in Edinburgh, which is on the west side. So if anybody's ever west side want to come into Edinburgh, it's perfect. It's really quick. They've got 5 courts. 5 courts, good hall, really affordable. Really high, no natural light, unusual, no windows at ceiling height, which always you seem to get now in schools and things. But this doesn't have any natural light, so in the summer you could go in there and it's pitch black. It's really, really good light in that hall. So I play there. Tuesday night is North Morningside Badminton Club. Normally, obviously not at the moment. And Thursday is Nomad's Badminton Club. North Morningside's 8 till 10, and Nomad's Badminton Club is 7 till 10. That's technically, they've got it all night. 7 till 10 o'clock. So I would go straight from work in there, put the hall up, put the nets out, get the shuttle, my racket stand, boom, organise the little table, all that stuff. And obviously dealing with the money and all that stuff as well. And people would come all night and would have battles all night long. It was good. So Tuesday, and then in the summer I organised I created a club called St George's Summer Badminton Club, which was which runs through the summer, because the badminton closes in April. So a lot of people were saying they've got nowhere to play as of, and the school was free up until, when I say free, available up until June time. So I booked the hall there throughout the summer months up until the end of June, when the school's technically still open. And then after that, I would go into somewhere like Sighthill, Napier Engage in Sighthill, and book courts there, and really just do it through social media, really just saying who wants a game, who's available, and then I could probably normally organise 4 or 5 courts, actually. Good group of people. I forgot to mention John Young, he's a good guy. What is your current favourite racket? Okay, I've got 2. My doubles racket is a 88D dynamic, because that's the kind of guy I am, dynamic. And my singles racket is a Yonex Astrox 99Z, which is the newest purchase, which is heavier, but got real control with it, and having a crap backhand, it actually gives quite good power. And I love both. Current favourite racket, tension £27 normally. Is what I go for. And Andrew Ironside, if you ever need rackets restrung. I know everybody talks about Gannon Sports, they're great, but Andrew Ironside's a young, enthusiastic badminton, really keen guy, for stringing, and will deliver and pick up and bring your own strings. And he invested heavily in a very big machine, actually, which you need to do, thousands I'm talking. So really holds attention, and he's really technical at what he does, and he knows his stuff. And then all round nice guy as well. So Andrew Ironside, nice guy. How do you manage family life in badminton? Well, my son, I've got a son who's 19. He's now in Edinburgh in university in Harriet Watt. So not a problem really at the moment, to be honest, for me. It's apart from my wife, who gets a bit frustrated when I'm out, and I don't leave at 7 in the morning, come home at 11 at night, which is quite tricky, I suppose. So I've tried to slow that down a little bit as I get very, very, very old. What's your favourite event now, and do you have a favourite partner? Mags Paul's, big shout out for Mags, my mixed doubles partner. Yes, we play in the Nomads mixed team. Second division, we're not really good enough. Carolyn Young, sorry, I forgot to mention Carolyn. She's a great player as well. Alan Evans, that's a player. He was a Nomads guy, now in North Morningside. I interviewed him. Pete Hardy I've interviewed as well. He's at East Lothian, but I know he's at more Western. Suzanne's at Western. Keith Campbell, Western. Western's the best club, to be honest. They are the best club in Edinburgh for sure. However, for duffers like me, Nomads is good. Yeah, they're all good clubs. Do you feel as competitive now? Yeah, I think I possibly feel more competitive now. I wish I had the vigour and enthusiasm and passion for health and fitness and badminton when I was 17, 18, 19, and I reckon I wouldn't have dropped out of school, and I probably would have went to university, and I would have probably had a better career. Do you feel as competitive now? Yes, I do. Very, very competitive. I get het up. I hate losing, but in a nice way. I enjoy it. I laugh, but it's competitive. What does he love about badminton? Okay, it's everybody. I feel quite emotional. Everybody I meet, it's really nice, They've all got the same passion. They've all got the same enthusiasm. I've never met a bad badminton player. So that's it. Thank you very much, everybody. I hope you have a good night, and I hope that was okay. And everybody, please stop asking me to interview me, because this is it. This is all you're getting, and that's that. I hope that's okay, and I will speak again soon.